Welcome to the Innovation Conversation, a podcast about innovators, both in business and real life. Hosted by myself, Ricardo Pascual, and Harry McDonough. Today's episode is sponsored by Hyperskill. Hyperskill is a learning and training platform that enables people from all over the world to learn new tech skills. If you're looking to learn new tech skills, this is a platform to choose. You can find out more about them on hyperskill.org. Today we are joined by Dean Williams, a well-known business mentor for Goldsmiths University. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Innovation Conversation. Me and Harry are very happy to have with us today Dean Williams from Goldsmiths University. He's both a well-known mentor, connector, an enabler of good things and everything to do with startups. So Dean, thank you so much for being our guest here in the Innovation Conversation.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Me and Harry are very excited to have you here. You have quite a big CV, quite a lot of stuff to tell our audience about. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Dean Williams. I am a mentor. Been doing this for over a decade now. There's so many stories, so many great things upon this entrepreneurial journey that I've been on personally with my own business, Exclusive Visions, that I've done within my career as a mentor. But it's been fun. It's been fun from working in as a chef, qualified chef, cooked for the Arsenal team, cooked for Jay-Z and Beyonce, worked for the Royal Bank of Scotland, did that for 5 years, an amazing journey in there where I learned about business, and that's what really got me going in regards to starting my whole entrepreneurial journey for myself. So it's been a beautiful decade and 1 year.
But how do you get started with all this? Because I know, and me and Harry both know, that you advise a lot of startups on how to actually go to market, how to become a better company, and also a company that lasts forever, right? Or for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
How do you even get started with this? Because there's so much information out there, but it's hard to get it all together, right?
Yeah, so my journey started back in, I think it was about 2010, when I was working for the corporate and commercial part of Royal Bank of Scotland. And I was working with 4 gentlemen who had over 100 years experience between them. And for me, it was like going to university for free for 2 years, because I was bombarding them with questions like, why doesn't this work? So why is this business growing? Why this? And like, they were just telling me, and I was like, wow. But it was just one question that kept bugging me, which they didn't even have the answer for, was the reason why so many businesses failed within the first 1 to 5 years. And I was like, but with all this support and guidance out there, why are businesses failing, especially those from marginalized backgrounds? So it was that one question. I left the bank and I embarked on that from 2013 to now. And what I have learned along the way, it's not the lack of cash or it's not having the right resources. There's something which I'll go a bit deeper into a bit later on, but there's something which I've coined called the soft skills and the unsexy skills of business. And businesses need to be able to marry these two to really have a great business. And yeah, it was those two things which really got me thinking, this is why so many businesses fail, because you haven't mastered this.
And the very high interest rates from the Royal Bank of Scotland.
But at the time, it was actually quite low. Actually, it was very hard to actually get a loan in the first place. So, yeah.
Because I remember that was one of the first business bank accounts I ever opened up for my university spin out. And I shouldn't put this on air, but we fibbed on there and they gave us the money. And it's quite a lot of money they gave us on there, but they were quite adamant about the due diligence process, how it works, kind of doing all these little loans and stuff. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, from a very early stage company that doesn't actually make any money, they're willing to give out loans based on obviously collateral, debentures, but also going on, as I said, your own personal liability as well. And I'm guessing, being in that situation, how did you find it where you had all these SMEs come through who didn't have anything, but a big part of what the bank wants to do is give out these loans at these interest rates to make money, and it's also the aspect of selling, getting more money on that side. How did you go about that, just helping people out?
See, in regards to the business side, in the corporate and commercial, it was big businesses making like turnover 7 figures. That's the type of business I was working with at the time. So startups and stuff, I didn't work on that side in the Royal Bank of Scotland. But I'm still going to touch upon your question, Harry. My biggest issue in regards to business loans, regardless if you're a startup or established, for me is if your business cannot pay that loan, you shouldn't be taking it out. And people say, oh, but I need the cash. No, you don't. You don't need the cash to start your business. You can bootstrap in the early beginning, because my thing is, okay, you need to be able to get traction. You need to get proof of concept within your business model first before you even start thinking about taking out a loan, because that I've seen so many people take out a business loan and there's stress and there's the discomfort what comes with that is crazy. So say again.
I was say, what was the worst thing that happened to them, would you say, in regards to? In regards to, did they lose their house? Did they lose their property? What's the downside of actually working with an actual bank itself?
Okay, the worst case scenario, not just with a bank, just in general, because banks is just one avenue that you can go to get a business loan. There's so many different organizations out there that provide business loans for a business, especially in this day and age as well. But the worst scenario I've seen is people kill themselves. Yeah, I've actually seen, like, people don't understand, being an entrepreneur has a high suicide rate. What people do not understand, and I'm talking from a global perspective, because it's that failure, that you not achieving your goals and your passion, that can be very demoralizing. And unfortunately, some people, and even myself, I got to a real dark place when I wasn't achieving the things that I wanted to achieve. And I can see how people get there when you're got so many things riding on you and it's just not happening, and it can take you to that dark place.
How do you deal with those moments? Because I know you know a lot of startups, you talk to a lot of startups, and how do you advise people to go through those moments? Because we all have them, and I think it's part of the entrepreneurial, it's part of the journey, right? Yeah. So you're gonna have them, but how do you deal with that?
Like, for me now, because I've had that experience of going through it, I can really talk upon it now. And I'm just going to give you 3 things that I do with my businesses. So what differentiates me compared to other business mentors out there is I care about you first before your business. I know once I get you right, once I've implemented the right infrastructures around you, so you're good. So I know these hard times are going to come, but I'm preparing you beforehand. And what I would do is, especially with everything that I do, the first thing I get you to do is take inventory of yourself. So I will get you to look at your current circumstances, look at your circle, look at your community. What do you have around you? So when things may not go the way that you wanted it to, that you have something to prop you up, to hold you up on. So who is it that you have in your corner? Do you have the right people? So do you have a therapist, a counselor in your corner? If you're spiritual, like, do you have a good connection to your pastor or your imam around you that you can actually talk to? Are you part of a community where you can literally just offload what you're going through, and people can not just sympathize but actually support you through this properly? So getting people connected with the right individuals. So those are the things, okay, that I get businesses and the business owners to implement in the journey from the very beginning.
Interesting, because there's a lot of talk, and we actually spoke about a lot of mental health in this podcast.
Yes.
And it's I don't think people fully realize how big of a journey they're setting out to go on. Because when you start a business, think, okay, I'm going to buy this, sell that, or I'm going to start this, and it's going to be super straightforward. But actually, it is very, very complex, right? There's a lot of highs and lows. So when you see people fail, what do you think happened for them to fail? Is there a common denominator that makes people, that you say, no, they're going to fail because they didn't comply with this and that?
See, I want to tackle that question differently, and I want to really establish something. I don't see failure like how other people see failure. For me, and when I'm talking to my entrepreneurs, especially in the early stages, so I like to work with businesses between 1 and 5 years. You've got traction, you've got proof of concept, you understand the market that you want to go after. My thing, okay, is I prepare you for failure. Failure is essential along this game, because failure is a teacher. And if you're prepared to learn from your failure, and I said I put it into an acronym, first attempts in learning. For a lot of our business owners, this is the first time you're doing this. There's a lot of things that you don't know, and you have to, like, there's the things that you don't know, there's the things that you have to learn and things you have to unlearn along this journey. So I prepare my mentees for failure, and how I do that is, like, I position you as entrepreneurial scientists. So you're going there with assumptions and hypotheses of how you're going to be growing your business. So it ain't about, oh, failure is bad. It's like, oh my God, failure is a teacher. Why did this not work now? So that different type of mind frame takes that extra pressure off you. Like, I have to succeed. I have to make money. It's like, no, you have to collect data. That's your currency in the first 24 months of your business is the data. And can you understand that data? Can you extract the necessary information to make informed decisions? And that's how I position my mentees, is to understand, okay, is a different types of mindset as you're growing that business. You start off, and you always will be an entrepreneurial scientist, regardless of the growth of your business. But in the early stages, it releases you from that, oh, I have to succeed mentality to I have to learn.
But I was just saying, a big aspect of any entrepreneur is something called founder's ego. And having spoken to quite a few of the entrepreneurs you recommended over for our event, that's hopefully taking place on the 6th of Feb. Again, big shout out to Akil on that side. A lot of the founders, they're very positive. They're different to a lot that we kind of engage with at our events, who know what they're doing. They're very, shotgun approach. We know it. We've got it. This is us. But obviously, you get the ones that know and they're very well grounded. How do you approach the ones that aren't grounded, who come to you like, we know everything, we don't want to listen to you, and suddenly you see them burn in probably 6 months' time?
Exactly that. I leave them alone. Unless you're prepared to learn, unless you have that willingness to humble yourself, the entrepreneurial game will humble you real quick. And this is, I'm speaking from experience. I had the entrepreneurial ego in the very beginning because why? I was like one of the best sellers within the Royal Bank of Scotland, and I worked on the customer side, the retail side of it, and I was able to get people to take out mortgages and credit cards and stuff. Yeah, from a legit standpoint, people want to make sure this is crystal clear, but they actually had the need for these things because I'm very ethical in everything that I do. So my thing was, I had that same attitude. If I can do this here, I can go anywhere and sell out. And the entrepreneurial game humbled me quickly. For the first 7 years, I was making little to no money, even though I was going and upskilling myself and learning and everything else. And it was hard. And that's how I got to those dark places. Like, how the hell is this happening? Like, I'm putting in the work. Why is it not happening and stuff like that? And I'm seeing people on stage who I felt that I was so much better than them, but they were succeeding and I wasn't. And things like that. It was humbling. So for me, it was a massive wake up call on my entrepreneurial journey to really be able to look at myself and take that time to reflect and say, you know what, I need help. And that's what got me to where I am, was when I humbled myself and said, I need help. Went out there, got mentors, surrounded myself with people who are better than me, and just shut up and listened.
It's a bit like, people always say this about playing tennis, but I guess it's the same thing for a lot of sports, which is you should always play with someone who's a lot better than you, so you can learn from them and you can up your game. Because if you practice with someone who's not as good as you are, you become this cult leader and you know it all, and then you're like, oh, I can never do anything wrong. But in reality, you're still going to do a lot of mistakes. And I think that's something, when we look at everyone you talk to, the ones that I always say, they're going to go far are the ones who are very humble. They're always asking questions. How can I learn? How can I improve, right? So I guess this is good. What is the big no-no? What's the one thing you would say to everyone, like, if you're going to start a business, just don't do this? And we know you need to be humble. What's the other thing you would say to people?
Don't take out a loan straight away if you don't need it. Definitely. Don't be afraid to walk into the room and ask somebody who is better than you for help. To reach out there, because there's a lot of people who have imposter syndrome. Like, they don't believe they deserve to be in the room in the first place. And they're seeing people who are successful and they feel, right, I can't even talk to this person because they are probably doing 7 figures and I'm just starting, and what do I have to offer and stuff like that? No, go and talk to them. They're human beings. Like, their business is their business, but at the end of the day, you'd be surprised. I'm going to give you a quick side quest story, right? So when I was starting out in my business, I fell in love with Richard Branson. Like, everything that he did, like, he was my poster. Like, that's where I wanted to be.
You want the life?
Yeah, not just the life. I started to call myself the Black Richard Branson, yeah, because I was calling it into existence. And I said to myself, no, I'm going to be bold. So I wrote a letter to Virgin Startups, right, about something that I wanted to do. So I wanted to create something, I swear to you, I wanted to create something in the desert where, I'm sure you remember David Blaine when he was in the thing for 40 days. Yeah. I wanted to do something very similar. And I wrote this to Virgin. I said, hey, look, I want to do something like this around entrepreneurship, and I want these messages to go round and da-da-da-da. I was not expecting a reply. I swear to you, I just did it because I was just emboldened. I don't know what book I was reading, and Virgin wrote back and said, "Oh, we would love to have a discussion about this."
Really?
Thank you. The safe guy said, "I said, well, I did not see what I put down," and I was like, I didn't even message him back. I didn't even reply back. I was dumbfounded, because I thought it was a wild idea. They're not going to pay attention. It's Virgin, but they did. And it literally, I share this story just to show to people that people are willing to listen if you're willing to ask the question. And it's literally to go out there, ask people for help, like humble yourself and just ask as many people, and just be prepared as well. Just don't ask for the sake of it because you've heard me say it, but know why you're asking and what is it that you're really looking for, and have a vision and plan for that as well.
Isn't that saying, ask and you shall receive, or something like that?
Yeah, from the Bible, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I normally use a different one, which is like a crying baby gets what he needs. So if you need something, you just need to cry a bit. You need to ask people, hey, can I get
like
this?
that. I'm going to steal that one for myself.
Before you came here, we were actually having a conversation because Ricardo's background's in sales. And my background is, again, helping people. That sounds so bad. It's not like you're selling, it's giving people all this stuff, but it's supporting those that don't have.
Tell the audience I was a scammer. That's in sales, you were scamming people.
Yeah.
It's all about how do you help people to get to the next stage of their journey, and that's where we are in this building. Obviously, our whole working ethos, but also coming as a co-founder of another business, it's hard. And reaching out to people, as Dean said, just to say, can you help me with simple things? Even if we take into account this sponsorship, what we're looking for these events, it's like, how do you reach out to these people to say, can I just have some advice, some guidance? And I think that is the route to survival, because nowadays when you look on LinkedIn, you see these new influencers coming up saying, I'm the new ultimate connector.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you. And that seems to be the new branding. It's I'm here to connect you. And everyone floods in like, can you help me? Can you help me? And they're like, nope, I don't have anybody in my books because I don't know who to refer them to. But it's all about help, and how do you really get there? And I like that approach, because without helping others, you'll never really get anywhere in your life or your business.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that's spot on.
But it's also a dangerous one as well, because sometimes there's tit for tat in the UK economy. But I guess the other question is how did you get involved with Goldsmith University? And I guess if you want to go into a deep dive question, do they help you with your own business?
To answer your last question, yes, immensely. But how I got involved with Goldsmiths is because honestly, I took my journey. I've taken it very, very serious to be one of the best mentors within the UK. 2018, I was awarded that title, like top 5 best business mentors within the UK, and again in 2022. So kind of been recognized over the years of someone who takes that mentorship serious, and I have built up my brand. So for everybody starting out in business, everybody who's intermediate in business or whatever, you need to grow your brand equity within yourself and also within your business. And my brand, when people are coming to me and I'm talking and I'm being serious to you, that deputy mayors of this of London and high influential people are walking to the room and I say, hey, my name is Dean Williams, and I heard about you. And I was like, and my thing is, okay, what did I do wrong this time? But most time it's actually good things. So my name now has weight across in regards to what I'm doing. So as I said, been on this journey for over a decade now. Before I joined Goldsmith, I was the SME champion for Southwark Council. And I was running the Startups in London Libraries program with some other great SME champions. One of them was Mark Burbeck from Lewisham Council and everything else. And when that program finished, he became the new business manager for Lewisham Council. And Goldsmith was thinking about starting and really ramping up their business section. And Mark goes, oh, Dean, you need to apply for this role. And I was like, no, I'm going to focus on my own business. Like, I'm done doing a seal. I built up my equity, my branding. I'm good now. I'm going to grow this business. And he goes, no, seriously, we can do some great stuff together. I'm like, Mark, leave me alone. So I left it alone, seriously. I wasn't going to apply for it. And then after, I think, a few days before the end date, I think he messaged me again and goes, please, like, can you actually just apply for it? I was like, whatever, Mark. So I applied for it. And then when I went in there, I was really inspired by the vision of Goldsmiths and what they were looking to do. And even they were in the ideation stage themselves of their business models and that. They were doing some things already. They had some great academics doing some stuff, but they couldn't really expand in the way that they wanted to because they didn't really have that business manager there. So I listened to them and I thought, wow, it aligns to what the hell I want to do. And I was like, and that's what really allowed me to say yes to Goldsmith, because what I wanted to do, they wanted to do. But the great thing about them is that they expanded it literally 10x what I wanted to do to a global perspective. I just wanted to do in the UK. They goes, no, we're going to take this global, and that's what they've done.
It's interesting the story you told us, because I think sometimes people who are naturally born entrepreneurs, they will always be in a position where they need to create, right?
Yeah.
If they're working for someone else, then they'll be the entrepreneur. So they'll be the ones leading programs, creating new stuff within their business. If they're outside of the business, they'll be the one, creating their own business and growing it. But I think people are just born with it, don't you think? Like with that desire to create something, to build something, either by themselves or with someone else.
Yeah, I feel everyone has a purpose. Everyone has a purpose in life. I say all the time, if a chair has a purpose, how much does a human being have? And regardless if you identify what your purpose are, what your gifts are, what your talents are, that's down to you in your lifetime. And I'm going to touch upon something in regards to being an entrepreneur. I don't believe everyone should be an entrepreneur. I don't believe everyone has that necessary mindset to go through that trials and tribulations and that valleys of being an entrepreneur. But I feel that some people are great at being seconds. Like you have Steve Jobs and then you have Steve Wozniak as his number two. And I feel that there's a lot of people, have this grandiose idea, but they have to be the person who starts it and the creator. But it's like, no, wouldn't you rather have a piece of Apple than none of it at all? Wouldn't you want to have a piece of Microsoft and have none of it at all? Of course you would. And that's what people misunderstand, that you can be part of a great story and use your skills and talents to build up a vision which you may not have started, but because you're there, now it's going to come into fruition. And I think that we have this lazy ass idea of, hey, you know what, I have to be that person. And it goes back to what you're saying earlier, Harry, this whole ego. It's about me. Like, I have to have this. No. It's about, can we create something which is going to leave a legacy? Can we create something, that we can actually now live off and make sure, that we can have an impact and fulfill pain points?
We're recording this just before, actually the day the Oscars nominees came out. And it's interesting because a lot of times you have the best supporting actor for and what's interesting about this is that sometimes the lead actor does not get an Oscar nomination, but the best supporting actor gets an Oscar.
Yeah, I like that.
Goes to show exactly what you're saying, which is you don't need to be the front, the face of the thing. You can just be on the background. But if you do your job well enough, you still get all the rewards that you desire. So it's very important to have that perspective.
I like that.
I'm a movie buff, so I like movies. Moving on to something very interesting. You were telling us a story about your own podcast and how you managed to get a celebrity on the podcast as well. So tell us all about that, because I'm quite curious about this one. Yeah,
so I've got the Exclusive Visions podcast, Love, Life and Business. That we did that. I shot that in 2023. 2023. So we was doing that from last year, and we did about 12 different episodes, and we got some very interesting people on there. So one of the episodes was called The Real Top Boy, and not sure if you ever saw Top Boy, did the show and stuff, but this one was he was from Hackney, and he had a real story of guns and chases and stuff like that, and we had that. I had people from the Freemasons on there because everyone talks about the Freemasons, Illuminati and stuff. I said, let me talk to them. Let me actually have these people on here and let me hear it from the horse's mouth. What's it really like? And some people, they couldn't really tell you. I don't care. I had the Freemasons on there. I don't like listening to people. I like to find that thing to myself.
So what's the handshake for the Freemasons? They always got this weird handshake. Did you manage to find out?
They've got multiple handshakes, and then depending on depending on the degree, then different handshakes as well. So they actually spoke about that as well. But they said they were very informative about as much as the question I asked. They asked all my questions, didn't duck anything, which was great. And then I had another one, Charlene Douglas. She was on the the Channel 4 show. She's still there. That sex show on Channel 4. I keep forgetting the name. So we put in Charlene Douglas, it'll come up. I had her on there, and that was one of the most interesting conversations around sex, about relationship, about different things as well. So having my own podcast was absolutely one of the best things that I've done, but it was so much work. So much work. And my team, and it was like, they wanted to continue, but I was like, I can't do this plus everything else that I'm doing. I just rather go on other people's podcasts, shoot that, and just use that content.
Well, we love having you here. So
Thank you very much, Ricardo.
came out winning this one. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess what's interesting. Do you have a question? No, I mean, we're recording the little snippets beforehand that we're gonna post on social media, and there were like amazing pearls of wisdom that came out of it. I guess what I would like to ask is, now that we're recording this and it's going on, all the major things, what is the? It's not so much what's the one thing, but when you talk with an entrepreneur, what questions do you ask to find out if they're for real or not? Like if it's some, if they're actually going to deliver. Because we had this event that you organized in Lewisham in the library. Yeah. And one of the things I remember you saying to the audience was, if I book a time with you, the only thing I demand you is that you actually show up and do what you're told, right? So what are the things you can always tell, this guy's going to fail, or that lady's going to fail? What's the thing?
Yeah, so for me, and again, not so much focusing on the failure, but just knowing if people are going to stay the distance within this realm of business and entrepreneurship. I know when a lot of people are just not serious, and I won't even invest my time with you based on certain things. It's like, number one, if you can't even show up for an appointment on time, which is about you and your business, I have no time for you. Unless there is like external circumstances which prohibited you to come on time and stuff like that. But it's just like, honestly, if I say to people all the time, is how much do you value the thing that you really have? And when I ask people the simple question, if someone offered you £1 million today to be on time, would you have been on time? Of course I would have been. You probably would have been there an hour early to make sure, that whatever needs to be done would be done. And I don't see people have that type of urgency. So for me, if people are poor with time, if people are literally just not willing to listen, if you really want to irritate me, cut me when I'm talking, keep telling me what the hell you're doing, and keep telling me this is what you're going to keep doing after we finish talking as well. So I give you an example. I was speaking to somebody and they were telling me, oh, my business is not growing, I'm not getting no customers. And I was like, okay, cool, what are you doing? And they told me, I'm on social media, I'm doing this, I'm on all these different social medias. I'm like, okay, cool. But the social media platforms are you on? Are your customers there? No, but I need to be on there. Okay, I'm hearing what you're saying, but are your customers there? No. But you're not getting no interactions. I don't care about likes and stuff, not those glorified metrics. Like, are you getting comments? Are people DMing you? Are you getting real interaction with your? No, but I need to say, okay, this is what I would like you to do, is literally just focus on 2 of your social medias for now. Let's create a plan and strategy. Oh, but what about the others? We're going to put them to one side for a moment and we may visit them later on. Well, I'm not going to do, okay, you know what? We're going to cut this right now. I'm not, I can't tell who this person was.
I should have interrupted.
Yeah. But literally, I cut that conversation, say, look, I am not the best person for you. And then I will signpost you somewhere else. Cool. I understand I'm not for everybody. But if you're that type of person, you're poor with time, you're not going to listen. And then the last one, it feeds in that you're not going to implement. Ricardo, you set me off, man. Okay.
No, this is
yeah. One of the things that key that I can't stand about people, I call them workshop holes. Okay, and sorry if that is not politically correct on your platform, right? But that's what I've coined it, is where you see these people you see them in every workshop. You'll see them in like everyone's workshop, not just yours. They'll go to your competitors. They'll go abroad. They'll go to everyone's workshop, but yet they're still in the same position.
We do it with our events, don't we? We get the same people. This is a great event. Next day, I went to a better event. They come back to us. This is okay.
And it's just like, okay, that's all wonderful, but have you implemented anything that you have learned? Like, have you tested any of the concepts, any of the learnings? Have you made anything true for you and your business? And it's like, I haven't done it yet. I need more information. No, you don't. You probably could write a book on this. You're probably better than most of the experts now because all the workshops you've attended.
Do you think they're scared? Scared to fail?
It's that perfectionation concept, okay, that people have. I need to be like ideal before I get started. No, you don't. It's like you need to get started before you actually know how to. You need to get started so you know the necessary things you need to be adapting and changing and refining within your business model. So there's a lot of people, as you've quite rightly just alluded to, that people do have this imposter syndrome. People are afraid to fail, and people have this concept that they need to have all their puzzles and pieces in place before they really can get started. But it's just, again, it's a cop-out, it's an excuse. And as my mentees tell me all the time, an excuse only sounds good to those who are making it up.
So let's take it for a reverse role. Let's say, tell us about Dean. Dean's the mentee on this side. How would you manage your time? Because one, you've got obviously your business advisory role at Goldsmith, the fact that you've got your own book, your own obviously business coaching agency and brand, and I'm guessing quite a few other bits and pieces in the background. How do you manage your time? It's probably quite nice if they're listening to actually get an understanding about, okay, from the person who's coaching me, how do you actually manage it?
Beautiful question. Number one thing that I learned how to do is to upskill myself as a leader. And as a leader, you need to learn how to, one, delegate. You need to learn how to articulate your vision. And number three, you need to learn how to build a team. So these are like the first things that I had to do, is learn how to be a leader and an effective leader that produces outcomes. Because a lot of people who are in business, you're not leaders. And it's a skill that you do need to refine. For me, is learning how to delegate. That's an art. Oh my goodness. Okay, learning how to delegate and delegate well. So that's not just you telling someone what to do. Is, are you able to identify who is the right person to do that task, and then see, okay, does that person actually need to be trained as well? So delegation is, there's like a whole process to really be able to delegate. And are you following up? Are you checking in? Are you ensuring, okay, that whoever you delegated to have all the necessary resources in place to get that task done to the way that you wanted it to? And then number three is very, very, very important. My mentor said this to me all the time. He said it from the very beginning. My mentor said, hey, you know what you need to do? You need to shut up. You have two ears, you have one mouth, use them proportionately. Yeah, we need to learn how to effectively listen. And I'm talking about, as I just said, if you like having a mentor, having a team, like being part of a community, that listening skill that somehow, okay, we just seem to be losing. And again, I'm just going to blame social media, but listening, just learning how to listen to yourself as well. It's so important, that intuitive stuff that goes alongside running a business, that because we don't know and how to listen to ourselves, we do stupid stuff. But if you took that time to really listen to yourself, said, should I really be doing that? More times that intuition is right 99% of the time.
Okay, so it's all about, as you said, intuition, listening to yourself, and asking. What I like to do is I always like to listen, and Ricardo quite notices I don't say a lot of the time. It's probably the first podcast where I actually am saying quite a few things, but I just like to ask questions. I don't know if it's because there's so much information to digest, but it's also ask stupid questions, but then some questions that shouldn't be asked at the same time. But I did want to throw it over to an interesting bit you mentioned. Not many people listening to this would be familiar with Lewisham Council and the work that you've been doing. Mm-hmm. And Lewisham is quite, I would say, compared to other boroughs out there, it's a bit less, more deprived in regards to, one, it's up and coming. Two, there is funding going into there at the moment, but three, there's a big incentive around there to get people back into work and creating new businesses. Yeah. Can you give us a bit of an overview of what you're finding in Lewisham? Like, what are the pain points and what are some of the things that you can see are going to happen in the next 10 years to kind of improve everything? Yeah,
Lewisham is a very, very interesting borough. It has one of the highest African and Caribbean population within the UK. And it's doing a lot right now to refine itself, and it wants that. I like Lewisham's vision as it wants to be the number one place for SMEs to be, and it is investing that time and effort to really make it happen. And I love it when people just don't talk and they back it up with action and back it up with finances and resources to make these things happen. So Goldsmith was awarded, I'm going to say myself as well, was awarded a contract recently, the Business Visiting and Growth Program, to run on behalf of Lewisham Council to support SMEs towards growth. And this is just one of the things that Lewisham have going for it. They have other initiatives but they're putting out there. So they've got the BIP Centre, so they're in partnership with the British Library, where businesses can get supporting from Catford Library, access great platforms like Cobra, which is the what's the Cobra stand for again? The Continued Business Reference Advisor. It's like Google for your business, basically. And you can go to Catford Library, or you can access these things from home. So there's some great resources out there that is available right now within Lewisham. And they are doing a lot. They are investing within their community. They're investing within their buildings. They're investing directly with the people, the people and the businesses as well. So there's a lot going on within Lewisham. I'm loving the fact that they're backing it up with not with just words, and they're backing it with a lot of action.
So how does this compare to the other boroughs, would you say? Where would you kind of position Lewisham in regards to its vision, its next steps? Where do you kind of see it being in, 10 years? And I guess
that's hard. That's hard because I'm seeing a lot of other boroughs really stepping up. Apart from Croydon, Croydon needs to step your game up a lot. We're doing work Since I've been in Goldsmith is doing the most right now. So right now we're literally breaking history in Goldsmith in regards to the work that we're doing. Like, we're about to enter into Medway. We're in Southwark right now, running a different program in Southwark. Where now we just got another project in Bromley, which now we're running in Bromley. So we are getting about. We're in talks with other councils as well to run new business program. Where we've developed a new AI program as well, which is going to be launched later this year. So which is going to allow us to go to other organisations and boroughs. But the boroughs around London, all of them have their own type of culture, own type of systems and beliefs. So it's a lot like Hackney, where I grew up. Flipping heck, it's not the same place. Where I grew up, like, we didn't even quit Hackney, we quit Crackney. Because you can walk down, Crackney had its own little atmosphere. You can go down different roads, and there's a crackhead definitely down the road and stuff like that, or something else happening. Now it's been, I like gentrification. Hackney has definitely been gentrified, and to me it's totally different. The energy, the whole look and feel of Hackney is totally different, and I like it. It's more affluent. It's bringing in a new vibe, new business, a new sense of community. So for myself personally, every borough is going through a change, and I think this is going to be good in the next 10 years.
So what are the biggest problems you're kind of seeing at the moment? Because again, I wouldn't say problems, but with Lewisham itself and all these companies, all these SMEs that are starting up during pre-COVID, a lot of them seem to be food businesses that are looking for support with, the universities and the local councils as well. Where are you kind of identifying innovative approaches? Because I know we came down to some of the events you're running at the same time a few months ago, and a lot of them seem to be food orientated, and there wasn't a huge amount of like innovative or disruptive technologies. Is it about supporting the local businesses and food, such as food and restaurants and all that, or is there a big emphasis on innovative?
No, Lewisham definitely is hella innovative. Remember, as I said, every borough has its own culture. And as I said, Lewisham within itself, it's got the highest population of African and Caribbean people. So their culture is going to be around food and stuff like that. But it has a tech network as well. So right now, everyone's just growing, especially, I'm not going to more focus on Lewisham. It's now really focusing on these businesses and getting them to a point where they're hiring local. They are engaging the youth and everything else. So if you're going to, like, for example, if you're going to go down Canary Wharf or areas around there, especially near Tower Hamlets, there's a lot of, and Shoreditch and stuff, you're going to see a lot of tech businesses around there because that's the culture. So wherever you go, you just need to be mindful of, okay, you know what is the culture of this area? What is predominantly going to be like the main focus of this community? So if you want to see a lot of tech in Lewisham, you're not going to see that. You're going to see a diverse creative, a lot of creative stuff happening within Lewisham. So yeah.
It's funny because we're talking about food entrepreneurs, but the simple reality is if you launch a food business or if you launch a tech business, you're still in your essence an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You're still going to go through exactly the same type of struggles. You're going to face the same challenges. You're going to call it different names, of course. Yes, if you're running a food business, you might have a challenge with your supplier of fries, and if you have a tech business, you might have a challenge with your supplier of cloud storage. But you're still going to have the same type of challenges, right? And when we look at people that come from outside, like I come myself, I think that the most natural thing to do, and that everyone can kind of do, is let's create some food. Let's cook something, because you can always find the ingredients. It's very easy to start a business like that, and I think it's a really positive thing that they're getting so much support. Right, overall, it's good because you launch your own business and you can
I'll say on that question there, just to kind of go on with the food and the tech businesses, they are similarities to some extent, but I would say from the very early stages, there's a big difference in regards to kind of setup and the whole approaches. And a big one is SCIS and EIS is a big kick in the bum for a lot of people, because I think it was around 5.5 years ago that a lot of people were actually taking advantage of that scheme, food businesses, accountants, building firms, because they could actually go in there and get half of the money back, essentially. And now they've made it very, very strict. So that would be the only way I would say is the main difference between all of that.
Yeah, that'll be a big difference, yeah.
But I would say in regards to what you've noticed, and this is something Ricardo and I have always had conversations around, is what is the average age of an entrepreneur? And that'd be quite interesting what you've noticed, because I think for Ricardo it's always young individuals. I'm like, well, it's usually people in their 40s who are a bit more experienced. But what have you kind of noticed?
To me, that the age is literally spread for me, because I've been on different programs, and over the last 10 years I've seen, from like, depending where I'm at and what I'm focusing on, that's what I get more of. But overall, like, the sweet spot for me has been between 25 and 35 years old. That has been like the sweet spot for myself. Yeah, you do get a lot of people from universities coming out want to start the business, especially now anyway. 10 years ago, being an entrepreneur was still like, that word wasn't even really used that much. Like to now, like everyone's a bloody entrepreneur. So like right now, yeah, that age group 25 to 35 for me is the ones who are really breaking out in all different industries.
What do you think is that? Because I know if you go and speak to individuals at, let's say, the DWP, which is the Department of Work and Pensions, and the job centres, they put a huge initiative out there, I think around a year ago, about getting over 50s back into work. Do you see any over 50s actually looking at setting up businesses or really doing all that as well?
Oh, definitely. I see all ages. I think the oldest person I had was like 70-something years old.
That's retirement.
Yeah, past retirement. So, yeah, I don't feel that you can start a business at any age. Like, I don't think there's an age limit. Like, I know 8-year-olds who have started businesses and doing very, very well, actually. And I said, I know people. 8-year-olds, like, start their own business. Like, they got their own brand books. They've written, like, authors. They've got their own books out there. They've got their own bags. They've created new toys that represent their culture and stuff like that.
Just in Lewisham?
Not just in general. There's I even tell the organisation, Ultra Academy. So if you look at Ultra Academy, they focus on helping young people from the ages of 8 to 15 years old to start their own business. Mm-hmm. So there's great initiatives out there already. And literally, just to answer your question, Harry, is there is a wealth of support now like never before. Like, there is so many great organizations where people can actually join for free or with little investment to be part of. Take your organization and start up events. Like, people can come there for support and guidance and a great networking. There's Enterprise Nation, there's Version Stuff. There's so much, but no one's better than Goldsmith because I'm there. Just want to plug that real quick. And people can go online, like YouTube University, like, go on YouTube and you can get a master's just by watching YouTube.
You can, there's tons of free resources. Right?
Tons. Like, you've got Udemy, you've got Teachables. There's so much wealth to learn and start a business. So there's nothing really stopping you in this day and age. And as you said, access to finance is not that hard as long as you got a strong business model to back that up. So you like just to start a business is great, and that, like even crowdfunding. Like people can you can crowdfund now for your money, and people are seeing that as a viable option to raise capital and things like that. And like to get to an investor now is 10 times more easier than it was 10 years ago, because you can go straight on LinkedIn and connect to investors, and there's platforms to connect to investors.
You said they're more pickier now, the investors, because I think that was a question I would want to go back to, is your GoFundMe. Because I think that's something that you kind of mentioned to us as well, that's something you specialise in, about creating GoFundMe campaigns that actually work. Because I know a lot of people who do the GoFundMe and it never actually works. Like, what's kind of the secret sauce behind that?
Yeah, so I'm not too sure how much time we have, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, but because there's so much, and that's a great question. Why crowdfunding? Because I specialize in reward-based crowdfunding, and there's different kinds. You've got debt-based, you've got reward-based, you've got equity-based, and so forth. So I like reward-based, especially for the types of entrepreneurs I like working with. So there's great platforms out there like Kickstarter or Crowdfunder as well, where you can learn similar organizations and businesses who might have done the type of crowdfund which you are thinking of doing. So you can go on these platforms and do your research, and they also teach you how to do excellent crowdfunding. But I'm not going to give you my secret sauce because you got to pay me for that. But there are like,
does it cost a lot to actually do it? I think that's what.
No, to do a crowdfund, time. I want to stress this, okay? For you to do a crowdfunding campaign, okay, any type of crowdfunding campaign, you need to have a team, you need to have a time, you need to be able to have a strong plan and strategy and stick to it. Oh my goodness. So when you're doing your crowdfunding campaign, the time is going to, it's like literally starting a business for a short amount of time and then starting it up and closing it off. And how I like to do it is in using a 90-day sprint. So we're planning for the first 30 days, then we're raising the third, 30% within the second 30 days, and then we're launching in the last 30 days. So I use a 90-day sprint for the success of my participants and my clients, and I have over 90% success rate. Like, I still believe it's one of the highest within the UK, literally because I will not work with you unless you have all the necessary things I've identified that's going to make your crowdfunding campaign successful. But you need the time and you need a team. So definitely.
Okay, that's quite impressive on that end, because it's I think that's the one thing a lot of people struggle with is kind of understanding that there's other options to funding. And crowdfunding is a really, really big one. But I guess everyone thinks, from my perspective especially, I always thought you have to throw in 10 grand of PPC ads in other areas to really, really grow it. But I guess it's building a community is a big thing around
You need a community. As I said, one of my secret sources, when you work with me, you see my secret sauce, you say, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Of course it is. It's taking me bloody 7 years to figure all this stuff out. And I know if you can fulfill everything I'm asking you to do, you're going to give yourself a sensational chance of succeeding. As I said, I have the people who have failed around me have failed because they didn't listen. And they literally just proved my concept. They did exactly what I told them not to do, and they failed. But I still take that on as a loss to me, because you was working with me. But honestly, it's just like, yeah, everyone, as I said, one of the guys I worked with helped him raise £50,000 to go to Harvard. He listened to the letter and he hit his target. So, and there's the other great organisations like Bottle Farm, one of the best ones I've done. They raised over £80,000. So you can go on Kickstarter, put in Bottle Farm right now, and you'll see they raised over £80,000 for their crowdfunding campaign. So I do some decent numbers with my businesses. So yeah, it works.
This is quite impressive, because in Kickstarter, I know for a fact there's a lot of companies that just charge to manage your entire campaign.
Yeah.
And then they go after their success rate. They say, okay, every company that launches with us, they always get funding. And there's a lot of rules and regulations. But for you to have that and be able to offer that to a lot of the businesses that come to you, it's quite impressive. Let's be honest. It's very, very impressive.
It is. Thank you.
As we're nearing the end of the podcast, if people want to reach out to you, how can they do so?
Yeah, LinkedIn is my baby. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Dean Williams. If you put in Dean Williams exclusive, for some reason I pop up first on everyone's thing. Yeah, I think that's actually brilliant. So Dean Williams exclusive, I'll come up. But if you put in Dean Williams, and I know it'll come, just put it exclusive after my surname, and I promise you, I will be the sexiest black guy who comes up will be me. So that's there. Or just connect with me, Goldsmiths. So dean.williams@gold.ac.uk. That's the best way to do it. Or actually, dean.williamsmentor.com. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today.
No, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.